welcome to the Unhinged. The Unhinged Poddy.
Welcome to the Unhinged Poddy. This is your host Rasi, and today I have my friend Stefani with me. Hi Stefani. Stefani is a family lawyer here in Melbourne. Fun fact, she was in fact my divorce lawyer. Her business is called Hestia Law, and you should check her out for any of your family law, wills and estates, and conveyancing needs.
And today is going to be everybody's favorite topic, childbirth and pregnancy.
Reproducing, having some babies.
How polarizing is this topic on the internet? Because everybody has opinions, and I think the general opinion used to be how much of a blessing children are, how much of a blessing it is to be able to bear children. And while that still holds true, what we have now come to understand is that it's not all rainbows and sunshine.
Absolutely. And I think that there is a lot of glorification around having children. Like you said, like it's a blessing, it's a privilege. I think it is a privilege, but the amount to which having a child is communicated in society that it is, the most wonderful experience, I think is somewhat misleading for women because they're getting themselves into a situation that they're perhaps not completely prepared for emotionally, financially, intellectually, physically, which unfortunately I think is part of patriarchy's aim to have women have children without thinking too much about it and glorifying it, and then they get into it and actually have to deal with the realities, often to their detriment.
I think we have romanticized the idea of bearing children as women, and society has fed us into that narrative endlessly. I also strongly believe women have been now for eons discouraged from actually discussing and sharing the negative aspects of pregnancy and of childbirth. Like you said, it is detrimental to women's health in all possible ways. It is detrimental to your well-being in all possible ways, but we're actively discouraged from ever sharing it. Nobody wants you to actually say the bit out loud that it wrecked your body and it wrecked your dreams, it wrecked your career, it wrecked your finances. All of it is true. All the mothers who are doing it right will always tell you that this is going to be the case and it is a huge sacrifice, but they're happy to do it. There's a caveat of but rest of it, right up to that point of it being a blessing and it being worth it, it's all still a pain and it's not worth it to a lot of women too, and they're discouraged from ever sharing that part. Now with internet and connectivity between women becoming better, women are anonymously at least coming forward to share what their experience is like and what their feelings are like about childbirth. And it's heartbreaking to hear so many stories. There would be many such women in your own circle and you wouldn't ever know it. I know women who have said this and they're ashamed to even feel those feelings and they just go into depression. But before we go into all of these aspects, we will like to cover each area one by one, and I think we'll have to do this in multiple parts. So let's go. I think we can start with education. How men and women have been asked to view pregnancy and childbirth has also been traditionally warped. I don't believe school or colleges are giving enough education to lay people who are not into medical fields, enough information about what it means to bear a child. When it comes to women's bodies. Sure, women's bodies are designed to bear children. Female bodies in all living creatures are designed to bear children. But make no mistakes, they're designed to survive a childbirth. They're not designed to do it effortlessly. There's a difference. Men seem to be able to think that's our sole purpose, first of all. And that's the narrative that all of them have been fed. And women are told to just suck it up and go through it. My own experience as a doctor when I was an intern in OBGYN was when women would scream during labor, other nursing staff and other doctors would come and ask them to quiet it down because it was scaring other women who are yet to go into labor. To ask a woman in labor to quiet the fuck down is appalling. Can anybody even imagine what the pain is like? I don't think men can, and women who have never had any painful experiences probably can't either, but it is a different experience for younger women and for slightly older women. It's going to be a little bit easier on your body when you're younger, and you're going to be able to bounce back much quicker. You're going to be able to go through the whole labor part much more easily, comparatively. Not always, but a lot of the time. So these are all the differences that we're not taught actively about. And other than that, men are not really taught about the whole trauma that pregnancy itself will cause to your body. They're not taught about what it takes to actually push that human out of your body or to even get it cut out of your uterus. They're not also taught about what reminiscing effects the whole process will have on your body as a woman either. Nobody thinks that men should be brought into the whole conversation for some reason. Having said that, I have also come across doctors themselves, the OBGYNs, the male OBGYNs, who will tell you to suck it up, who will be like, nah, it's fine. All the women go through it. You're going to be fine. Hello, all the women go through it, but that doesn't make it fine.
So today we're going to talk about the prospect of having children from the perspective of Rasi, who is a trained medical professional, and myself as I'm a lawyer, but I'm also going to speak to lived experience of myself and people in my network. And we want to talk about a bunch of different topics. So really we're just going to get into it and put information out there that is often not spoken about, or I think it's often spoken about by women who have actually been through the process with other women who have been through it. And they kind of shelter that information and it just stays within the networks because it's an opportunity for them to share and reflect and relate to each other. But it means that conversation is not as broad as it potentially should be, not only to other women, but also to men.
I think there's some stigma around discussing all of this too. Traditionally, it has been. It's getting much better with social media connecting women, but let's make the conversation much, much larger because it needs to be.
So I think we will start with, I guess, the medical ramifications of going into being pregnant. What is it like to be pregnant? What are the risks during the pregnancy? And what is the aftermath of having a child on one's body? Like, what have you seen in your experience?
In my experience, I don't think I have seen nearly enough compared to what women are now coming forward with. If everybody's not already aware, there's a woman with a list discussing the after effects, as you said, to pregnancy and childbirth. And the list keeps growing day by day. And it is traumatizing to even me, who has studied all of this, to come across all of these things over and over, because it's just mind-blowing how badly it can affect your body. And not just the after effect. Even during pregnancy, not all the pregnancies can be smooth. You might have had one pregnancy smoother, but the second one would be a nightmare. Also, it doesn't matter what age you are, what trimester you are even. You see in the movies, the typical way they present pregnancy is you would start vomiting. Now, vomiting itself can be feeling like a train wreck on your body. It's not that simple. It looks okay because people vomit all the time. You're hungover, you drink too much, you vomit all the time. It's nothing like that. It will literally feel like your soul is being ripped out of your body sometimes. And extreme vomiting can also occur. And again, it doesn't matter what trimester you are in either. Sometimes it can start quite early and take into the next trimester and also carry over into the third. Might be rare, but probably not rare enough. And that alone is enough to cause other associated symptoms, because when you're constantly vomiting, it's something simple. That's why I continue on vomiting. But something as simple as that, when it continues to happen, it will have after effects. The extreme vomiting will start to burn your lining. It will start to make you sick. It will start to affect your teeth. It will start eroding your teeth because it's all acidic. It's not going to be pleasant. It's going to affect your mood. It's going to affect your mental health. Your further physical health is also going to get affected. Your appetite is going to get affected. Your baby needs food. For you to be able to grow a healthy human being, both of you need to be nourished. So it's one thing linked to the other. Now, we can go into extremes, but this is not exactly a medical podcast. But there's heaps of information out there on what could go wrong during even pregnancy. And again, not saying that this is something going wrong, but this is just the associated price that the body sometimes has to pay for pregnancy, because the body is designed to survive pregnancy and childbirth, not to do it effortlessly, unfortunately.
It's not a fairy tale experience.
Not at all. And for the few chosen lucky women who do have least complication, great. We're very happy for you. But this is a gentle reminder. Do not jump into the conversation if you can't relate to it.
I think it's something to raise about all of these issues, whether it be you've got morning sickness, you're vomiting, you've got back pain, you are having any other whole host of associated issues, fatigue. The conversation shouldn't just simply be, I'm going to have these issues, is what are the conversations you're having with your partner to actually manage this? So the reason that we wanted to talk about this topic in particular was not just about women understanding what you're getting yourself into. And I think a lot of women probably have a bit of an understanding that it's going to be potentially a bit of an uncomfortable experience. But also, is your partner actually going to show up for you? Are they going to be there? Are they going to assist with all the different dietary requirements you may have? Are they going to assist in making adjustments, different types of pillows, sleeping arrangements? Are they going to help you with painkillers? Are they going to essentially look after you at a drop of a hat if there is some sort of complication or you're in some state of being uncomfortable? I think there are good men out there that will do this, but I think a lot of men don't understand how painful and how complicated it is to carry a pregnancy, and therefore don't actually contemplate in their minds when they're thinking about having children, what are the adjustments and things that I need to do? What's the communication level going to be with my partner about making sure that their experience is really positive, or at least as comfortable as I can make it for them to be a really good partner whilst they're doing the physical hard work of carrying a child?
I think women nearly don't make enough fuss for men to contemplate how difficult this is and what a huge feat it is. They think women around the world do it multiple times, that too, and it must be easy. Well, this is another thing. If a woman came up to me and said, I had 5 pregnancies and each one was quite difficult, my first reaction would be, you're made of steel. You're a superhero to have to go through this and willingly going through this. But a man hears it, an average man, by the way, don't come at us. An average man might hear it and say, well, it must be easy. If you're doing it multiple times, it must not be that hard. It must be easy, because he probably wouldn't do it if it was that life-threatening and that hard. So women have to, first of all, make more fuss about it. Secondly, education. It again boils down to education. Men need to educate themselves. And if men are not willing to do it themselves, which is going to be most likely the case in a lot of situations, women need to take that onus and sit and discuss while they're contemplating that they would probably want to have a child. Sit your man down. Discuss with him what it takes and what it costs to actually bear a child in the first place, let alone having an actual human to take care of, what it costs to go through the 9 months. Even 1 month would be a huge up and down. The man needs to understand what it takes. Probably it's just a matter of filling in the gap for them. For a lot of men, I don't think they are communicated this enough. If he doesn't pick up the book and if he doesn't go and seek out that information, it probably is the women's burden to make sure that the man understands, because ultimately it's going to be for your care and your needs to be looked after while you are carrying his child. It sounds a little bit tedious, but trust me, if you have any problems, you're going to want to have your partner right there to look after you, or to at least understand your needs and to give you that space and that support, much needed support, because it's not just your child, it's both of your child. Education and conversation, just awareness. It's not even condescending, because a lot of women are now coming out and saying, I feel betrayed and cheated because nobody told me about these minor small details that go into pregnancy and childbirth. Imagine if women are saying this. Imagine how bad it is for the men. They don't know even half of it. Go and talk to people and seek out the negative things. Don't dismiss them because it might scare you off of having children. No. Go make an informed decision. Women who have had life-threatening pregnancies still choose to have subsequent pregnancies, by the way. People do choose to go through it despite all the information, even if it's negative, even if their lived experience is negative. It's better to be prepared and build your support system around it. Build your mental capacity around it. Yours and your partner's both.
In the dynamic, we're talking about heterosexual relationships.
Oh, yes.
But this very much holds true for any relationship, whether it's same-sex, non-binary, or anyone from the queer community. The queer community is included in these conversations with us.
Yes.
And we're an ally to the queer community. The way in which we discuss these topics, we will be talking about them in a hetero sense, in that that's our reality and that's our lived experience. But please know that you're included in this conversation as well. Something else that is not discussed, I think, enough, again, with younger women and men, is that not all pregnancies go to term. And I've got 2 people in my network this year that have lost their babies. So one lost the baby in the 2nd trimester, miscarried, actually delivered the child, but miscarried. And the other was a baby that was, again, in the 2nd trimester. The mum went into labour early. The baby was delivered and was alive, but died 2 days later. Both of these situations, you can't prepare yourself for, I don't think, in any which way. They're absolutely devastating, and there are no words for this kind of a situation. I don't think we talk about these situations enough to know that this is a possibility as well when you're considering going down this route. And again, for me, it just comes back to you need to have a partner that is a good communicator, that is there with you on the journey. Because going through something like that is so emotionally traumatic. One of my friends who has gone through this year has gone to therapy, still talks about the child. The child has a name and has really still integrated, in their life, and that they still talk about this child regularly, which is beautiful. But I don't think a lot of people, all men, actually would be capable of that. But she's really lucky that she's got a gorgeous partner who is so invested and so supportive of her emotional journey and their emotional journey as a couple and as parents. Men need to be taught that and be prepared that there can be complications as tragic as not going to full term or losing the baby once they've had the baby. That happens as well.
Associated with any sort of miscarriage or any such unfortunate outcome is a surge of hormones and emotions that the woman goes through, even if the woman wants to find closure after these situations and all of this trauma. The hormones are another level of nightmare to deal with. I have had friends who have had to go through this, especially when they chose IVF. And that's another reality. Once you pass a certain age, certain genetic predispositions and certain ethnicities are more likely to have problems conceiving the normal way, and they might need assistance. So with IVF, multiple pregnancies are quite common, and so is multiple miscarriages. And to go through this over and over is not easy, and a partner needs to be conveyed of all of this reality. And men will quite often not grasp the full depth of how frustrating the whole process can be and how exhausting it can get. And I've also met women where the woman lost the baby, it was a miscarriage, but for some reason the partner thought it was a good idea to tell her that if she hadn't done X, Y, and Z, maybe the baby would still be there. It's horrifying, by the way. It's appalling that there are people who think this is an okay thing to imply to the woman who was taking all of the efforts and going through all of the pain to actually conceive and carry the baby to full term. Again, please, a reminder that IVF by its very nature is also quite difficult to go through. It's not a simple matter of something just being implanted into you and the baby just sticks. No. That doesn't happen either. It's multiple rounds, it's painful injections, it's a lot of monitoring, and the mental toll it takes on you, only the women who have gone through it might be able to tell you. Even Steph and I cannot comprehend how exhausting it can get. If you have ever hated periods, this is another level of shit that women willingly go through because they want the baby that bad.
Anyone that's wanting to learn a little bit more about IVF as well, there is actually some great people on TikTok documenting their stories around IVF. There's one couple, I think here in Melbourne, that have been documenting their IVF story, and it's fantastic. Very intense and heartbreaking and emotional, but it's very real.
If you take away nothing from the podcast today, take this away. Seek active negative information around these things. These are normal things. Pregnancy and having children is very much normalized, and it is normal. It is something that many people still should want, technically, but do it with all of the information in your hand.
And we will have to continue this in another part, so watch out for the next episode. Meanwhile, let us know what your thoughts are. What did you think of all the points we made and all the aspects that we covered? Share your experiences with us, maybe ask more questions, raise points, counterpoints, whatever comes to your head. Just reach out to us on all of our socials and we'll try and address it and we'll make a robust discussion out of it. Got a topic you want us to cover? Have a burning question you want us to debate? Reach out to us on our socials at the Unhinged Poddy. And who knows, your questions just might make it to the mix.
That's all for now, folks. Catch you in the next episode. And in the meantime, don't do anything we wouldn't do. Or, on the contrary, just go for it. Be wild out there. Bye!
The Unhinged Poddy.